Morning show, and you're here with Hal. And I know that I'm a little late in running, but forgive me and try to be a pal. Hey, there's no theme song for the morning show, and I'm making up as I go. There's no theme song for the morning show, but that's something you already know. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. That's very sweet. Oh, it's so, no, come on. Good morning, Carl. Hi, everybody. Yes, I am. I will be sounding a little leathery this morning because I was singing my fool. Oh, I don't want this. I want this. Thank you. Oh, quit it. I don't want current application because I don't know what that is. There's something very strange about. Oh, the Stream Deck thing is updating, and I'm being hit with the updates. Madness, I tell you. I'm fine. I was, for whatever reason. Remind me later. I don't have time to do updates. I'm in the middle of a show. Don't these people understand? Hello, everybody. Welcome. Good morning. There I am. Now I've cleared all the garbage off the top of my deck, and then I can show over here. See if I can get this guy more centered, and then zoom in. There you go. And then slide it over here so we can all have a look. And then I'll make myself of a reasonable size. And then I'll take this part and I'll move it over here. And then, hi. Don't mind me. I'm just fixing things that are all of a sudden different. Picture-in-picture shape should be tall. There we go. Put me over in the corner. That's much better. It's starting to come together. Look at this. Now it's a show. All right. And we'll zoom in a little bit more on this and slide it over. And there, quality programming for you and for me this fine morning. Good times were had by all last night at the Ultimate Jam Night. Such a joy. I'm a little tired, as I might look, and I've got a photo shoot today, so I've got to go put some ice on my eyes or something. And the show will end promptly at 10:15, and you guys will remind me because I have to be on the road. I got to get my clothes in the car and out the door by 10:20. So keep me honest, folks, if you can. Good morning, everybody. And Ginger and Britt came to the show last night. So awesome. You were sleeping on the East Coast. It's a good time to sleep on the East Coast. It's very snowy. You couldn't find my live show? It's on their website, Ultimate Jam Night. They usually post it if you didn't get to watch it live. And I will... Frozen, hello? I do not. I don't have any cucumbers at the house. That's a personal question. But yeah, I'm not ruling it out as a thought. Am I frozen? Is this? Yeah, I am. Look at this. What's happening? I look great. That's me catching up. Okay. Good morning. Hi. It's always fun trying to start the computer up out in the back studio because it just has a mind of its own. Ugh. Just craziness. Hey, and we got some chat trolls already. That's great. I have thoughts on a bunch of stuff this morning. Bill Murray, of course, it's Groundhog Day. Hello, all you woodchuck chuckers. It's Groundhog Day. And the New Jersey groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil is fine, but the New Jersey groundhog apparently died a couple days ago. So they canceled the event, which I think that means 6,000 years of winter. If your groundhog dies, you will live in winter is bad when your groundhog just goes fuck it and keels over. Well, hello, Caitlin. What's up? Good to see you. Coos Bay, Oregon. That sounds lovely. They need to leave those rodents alone. Yes. The prognosticator of prognosticators, Punxsutawney Phil. Yeah, today's a great day to watch Groundhog Day. And, today's a great day to watch Groundhog Day. And, today's a great day. I'm kidding. I'm messing with you. Okay, so that's why Bill Murray. Don't drive angry, I'm guessing. And he's lovely. I think that's the other thing right here. Where he... It's like where he kills, he punches Ned Ryerson. Ned Ryerson? Bill Murray at Pebbles Beach. Look at that. That's his mother, I think. Today's just all Bill Murray all the time. Oh, that's amazing. February 1st, last night was the first Letterman show, and Bill Murray was the first guest. Talk about, like, playing it safe. They used to pull the groundhog and they used to eat it. You're hypocrites. All of you. Yeah, I know the lines. That's true. Don't drive angry. One time, Bill Murray came up to me at a Wendy's, took a fry off my tray, ate it, looked me in the eyes, and said, "Nobody's going to believe you." How a gypsy curse almost ruined the classic. Oh, calm down. Gazebo. Such a good movie. And the first attempt at him and Harold Ramis bearing the hatchet. What blizzard? It's a couple of flakes. Bill Murray was stuck in Punxsutawney for 33 years and 350 days. I don't buy that assessment because that's what you saw. Unless that's... does somebody know? Yeah. It's a lot of the same day, yeah. I'm sorry I didn't get to meet you, sir. I'm glad you're feeling better, but you need a little sun. So many great Bill Murray lines. Just an awesome dude. It's going to be cold. It's going to be gray. And it's going to last for the rest of your life. When he eats whatever the cake is in this scene, like he stuffs this whole what? Well, that part of him, and she quotes she quotes The Wretch, the poem. I thought that was Willard Scott. Yeah. So put your little hands in mine. Aw. I'm gonna go for broke. I am madly in love with you. Like the scene in the apartment where he hits on her, like these days would probably panic people. Because he just hits on her. No kiss. Like, she shoves him out the door. I bet you're going to be thinking about me after I'm gone. I bet I will. And a lot of free repeaters. Aw. What a ridiculous question. Here's Phil's piano solo, Phil's Boogie from the film Groundhog Day, composed by Terry Fryer. Oh, that's great. You sure this is your first lesson? Yeah, but my father was a piano mover, so that's one of my favorite lines in that movie. It's so good. I was on a blind date the first time I saw Groundhog Day. The date was so bad I thought I didn't like the movie. Thankfully, I tried watching it for a second time on VHS and loved it. Well, I'm glad, D. Yeah, those kind of things can ruin something that's just generally lovely. Okay, campers, rise and shine. Don't forget your booties because it's cold outside. It's cold outside there every day. What is this, Miami Beach? Not hardly. I think I have that as memorized as he does. Yes. I'll get going. That wasn't even me. Where is that? Whose phone is sitting out here? Unless my phone can throw its voice. That was odd. The dogs in Ghostbusters were played by Lindell and Larry and Lanny Walnuts. Yes. Protesting day, I had to wake up. Good for you. A remake of Groundhog Day would be redundant. I think they should remake it with all the actors as themselves, completely unironically, like a play that you just do a reunion of. I think it'd be fantastic and awful. This whole thing with Zucker resigning, like this dude just got out when he wanted to because he had a consensual affair with somebody ongoing for 20 years or something, and he was supposed to disclose it. Thank you, Sylvia. And am I the only one who thinks that, like, while you need rules to make sure that people aren't acting on other human beings, being inappropriate in the workplace or being, engaging in non-consensual behavior at all, like that should be an absolute stop. But the idea that the company you work for needs to know who you're sexing is weird. I mean, there are some elements where if you're in charge of firing that person, it complicates things. I understand that. But you can, if they come to you and they go, "Hey, you got to fire so-and-so," and you're like, "Yeah, well, we've been knocking boots for 10 years. You're going to have to do it. Because I'm not going to do it. They're lovely." Like, oh, shit. All right, well, now we've got that's why you had a corporate rule about it. Reading Judy Blume's, several which have been included in banned book lists, including NBC's report. Hundreds of books have been pulled from Texas libraries for review. Dude, we're all living through the 70s again. I swear to God. I mean, I remember this shit from when I was a kid. We've been through this a couple of times. How doesn't what? So hold on, I saw that. If you ever watched it on VHS and tried to rewind it to a certain spot, it's impossible. That's hilarious. Thankfully, I don't have to live the date over and over again. Yes, I'm glad. We're all happy for you, D. Groundhog Day Town Square scene was filmed 20 miles from where I live in Woodstock, Illinois, the county seat. Oh, that's awesome. Anyone else having trouble keeping the video playing? It should now be relatively fluid, I hope. No fraternizing, right. Yeah, but Mein Kampf stays. What about a breakup? Yeah, well, that's why. I mean, ultimately, that is why. Yeah, more audio. Do you mean from me? You need more audio? Or... Because I'm like, again, I don't know how much I trust the meters on these damn things. Because according to the software, if I turn it up to this point, which you guys can hear, I'm actually overdoing it. So there you go. Hopefully, turn on captions, right? Maybe it's in loopback or something. Let's see. The stream audio and the codec. And the codec could be I don't want the M-Track audio 2 on. Maybe that's partly why it's weird. And then you turn on this thing, and then we turn the options, and it's turned all the way up. Of course it is. So we go into the total settings and go to the USB codec, and hopefully it won't freak out my audio for a second, and then I'll turn it up there. Because the funny thing is, it doesn't look very low on my end in that regard. So let's go to this guy right here. It's like it has no input controls. Okay, so it really is. It's just I just gotta jam it up to there and try to peak it because that's where it peaks out, and it gives me it's too hot there. It's very strange. I don't know why that is. It shouldn't have to go all the way up. I don't understand. I think something's wrong. It's very strange, isn't it? Maybe I just gotta be right up on the sucker. Maybe that's it. Maybe just move it closer to me will help. I'll just talk right into it. Good morning, like I'm a wave DJ. Good morning, and how are you? We've got a dedication coming out from Claire for her husband Stan, who's on his drive, and is going through road rage right now and needs to relax. So here's Kenny G with Slow Down, No, I Mean It. This one does not go to 11. It doesn't. I don't understand. Hundreds of books pulled from Texas libraries for review. The Evils of Math. I wonder what books they are. Do they tell you in this article? Would it be too much to ask? Books on race and sexuality are disappearing from Texas schools in record numbers. Are they just on race and sex, or are they particular books on race and sex? But okay. Is it safe haven said one of the places you can feel completely free? Rosa Books characters from all sorts of backgrounds, but safe haven. Only one of the places. Okay, spoke softly to herself and worried someone might overhear saying she'd hidden from her parents. She didn't know she was queer. A student told a reporter. Told the past comments about always she's a sin. She's long feared they would learn a secret if they saw what she reads in the library. But books, including one of her recent favorites, have been vanished from the shelves. Jack of Hearts and other parts, a book she'd read about a gay teenager who isn't shy about discussing his adventurous sex life. Also banished The Handsome Girl and Her Beautiful Boy, The Boys Aren't Blue, The Lawn Boy. Coming-of-age stories prominently featuring LGBTQ passages about sex. Some titles were removed after parents formally complained, but others were quietly banned by the district without... As a struggle with my own identity as queer was really, really important to me that I have access to the books. Yeah, I mean, also the public library versus the school library are two different grounds. And secondly, these folks are going to be pulling heterosexual, sexual coming-of-age stories. They're beyond like anti-gay in this. They're sex-averse. So there aren't, and so far as I would know, that like in a school library, you're not going to find a book about an adventurous straight teenager who isn't shy about discussing his adventurous sex life. I don't remember what. Does anybody remember a book like that? I read, like I checked out The Hobbit and kept it forever. All the Lord of the Rings books, I got them from the library. Watching the gig on Everett this morning was fantastic. Fantastic. Voted to keep the books in high school libraries, so that's good. Yeah, they're life-averse. Is banning books the same as burning them? No, not technically. I mean, because you're only banning them from certain outlets. You can't get them. They're not removed from sale. It's not like you can't buy them on Amazon with a gift card and then hide your purchase afterwards. Wink, wink. Like, that's how most people get stuff, right? I don't ever remember checking out a book about why are we sexualizing our precious children? Katie said a parent in November school board meeting suggested books about LGBTQ relationships causing children probably question their gender identity and sexual. Why are our libraries filled with pornography? Well, the adventurous sex kid story, she might have a point. I don't know about the other ones. I didn't read them. But I do know that growing up in Kentucky, if there'd have been a book about, like, straight kids knocking boots, I mean, think about what movies we watched about coming-of-age sexuality when I was a kid was, like, Friday the 13th. Like, the only way you're going to live is to stay a virgin. So... Another parent in Katy, Houston. Yeah, Katy, Texas. That's where the King's X guys are from. Also, I've been there many times. The district to remove a children's biography by Michelle Obama, arguing it promotes reverse racism, really, against white people, according to records obtained by reverse racism. Which would just be racism, but, okay. Reverse racism kind of is a little racist because you think racism should only go one direction. No, you don't understand. Forward racism, like real racism, that goes from white to black. If it's the other way, that's reverse racism. Like, racism would just be racism no matter who does it. But it's kind of racist the way you're calling it reverse racism. You don't understand. Proper racism goes that way. And like, for fuck's sake, banned albums sold banned albums. Remember, like, when they put stickers on albums, the sales shot up. Are these people never going to learn? Fight is particularly heated in Texas, where they're not even sure why they're reading. It's hard to argue about books when I don't like the goddamn things anyways. Okay? You understand? Books suck, okay? Just get that through your thick skull. What books would you like to ban? You don't understand. Books. I'm not saying all of them out. These should be empty shelves. It just should be full of Bibles. I love the that comedy duo, the Liars, the Good Liars or whatever, telling people, like, there's a book that's on school shelves that has this story in it about these women who get drunk and have sex with their dad, and these people, and they're like, should that be in the school library? And they're like, no. And he goes, well, that book is the Bible, because Lot's daughters had sex with him. Yeah. Oh my God. A retired school librarian is spearheading a grassroots effort to fight back against book challenges in Texas. Good for her. She doesn't look like a retired school librarian. She looks like a school librarian cast in an after-school special or a HBO series. 10 current recently retired school librarians spoke to a reporter. Okay, 5 of the librarians said they were thinking about leaving the profession. Yeah, that's a good idea. When you care, just stick to them. If a kid comes up to you like, hey, if you're looking for any books you can't find, talk to me. I'm glad to help you out. You know, anything short of the Anarchist Cookbook, I can help you out. I'm not saying I got out because I was afraid to stand up to the attacks. I didn't want to get caught in someone's snare. Who wants to be called a pornographer? Who wants to be accused of being a pedophile or reported to the police for putting a book in a kid's hand? Well, yeah. Also, it's not censoring to guard minors from exposure to adult-themed books, as Kristen Mangus, a parent, said at a meeting in November, which is true. The question is are they adult-themed simply because they have the kid character is gay? No. And the other book where he's talking about his adventurous sex life, yeah. You wouldn't have a book about straight kids in the library about in that way. So yeah, that's fine. Like, it's a school library. It's not the library. It's not the public library. Free speech advocates and authors denying the books in question meet the legal definition of pornography. Well, yeah. Although some include sexually explicit passages or drawings. Oh, come on. Those scenes are presented in the context of broader narratives and not for the explicit purpose of sexual stimulation. It doesn't matter when it's a kid. Dum-dum. How come my copy of this Judy Blume book has a centerfold in it? Come on. Some parents want to pretend that books are the source of darkness in kids' lives. Author of Ashley Hope Perez, author of the young adult novel Out of Darkness, which has been repeatedly targeted by Texas parents for depicting a rape scene and other mature content. The reality for most kids is that difficulties, challenges, harm, oppression, those are present in their own lives, and books that reflect that reality can help make them feel less alone. Yeah, sometimes. And sometimes it can make them feel isolated and that only books get them. Like, there's a catch-22 there with kids. Reading books or consuming any kind of media that has LGBTQ representation, it doesn't turn people gay or make them turn out a certain way, said Amber Call, a 17-year-old bisexual student, Katie. I think reading those books helps kids realize that the feelings that they're having already are valid and okay, and I think that's what a lot of these parents are opposed to. Yeah, I agree. I think the smartest person in this entire article is a 17-year-old girl. Everybody else is just like, I don't. Playing a memoir by a queer black author, George Johnson, after her parents' neighborhood towns had concerns about it. What were their determined that they were pervasively vulgar. I feel like I've died and gone to 1976. The district asked staff to review books on Krause's list to ensure they did not have any obscene or vulgar material in them. For us, it's not about politics or censorship, but rather about ensuring parents that parents choose what is appropriate for their minor children. Right. There is extremely sexual content in that book. Okay, Beyond Magenta, Transgender Teens Speak Out by Susan Coughlin. There's extreme sexual content in that book that isn't even appropriate for me to put in an email, the parent wrote. Rather than requiring the mom to fill out a form to initiate the film, Chase, the recently retired Carroll librarian, said an administrator shared the email with her and another librarian in order to avoid conflict. They agreed to remove the book from high school shelves. I hate that we did this, but we didn't go through the formal review ourselves. I think a lot of librarians are making decisions out of fear, and that puts us in a position of self-censorship. It's also like there's a huge difference between books in school libraries and books in libraries. Because also there's varying degrees of reality that teenagers and kids can actually handle at their level of maturity. And even though they deal with life's realistic situations, life happens to them, that does not mean that they have the capacity to deal with that reality in the same way that an adult interprets that reality. And so there's a reason why kids' books progressively get more complex, but are never fully as complex and as sexual or realistic as books meant for an adult audience. Yeah. Hey, nice, John. I'm sorry it's not a higher quality visual today. This. What are you gonna do? And then what? No more British bulldogs. Norway bans breed over cruelty to animals. Yeah, because they make them by taking a regular dog and making them come to an abrupt stop. All their skin just tap, 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 tap. The Lorax has been banned? I don't know of any place where the Lorax has been banned. There was one other Zeus book that got pulled because it had some racist stuff in it. But the Lorax is an anti-pollution book. Oh, what's this guy? Look at that little punum. Look at his face. Oh, what's happening? That's my cute, fluffy dog voice. Anybody got a cute, fluffy dog voice when they see it? Oh, what's wrong with you? Like they're so cute it hurts. What a doing? Oh, what a doing? That's what I do when I see a dog like that. It's ridiculous. That dog, I'm like, I just want to get him an asthma inhaler. My buddy has 2 bulldogs. Two these guys. No more British bulldogs. Group argued the selection of breeding meant there are currently no animals in Norway that could be classified as healthy. Oh shit! You like overbreeding these things. Why must you play God, dog breeders? Why you see men in all these objects? I do. From presidents to Elvis, there seem to be certain faces we see more often in everyday objects. They're usually male. Well, if you see a face. Also, I'm going to go with the bearded toast guy. Looks like Jesus looking down with a mustache. You're Rorschaching. I don't know that I see an emoji face in these. I don't know that I attach gender. I mean, that looks like a mustache, so sure. I don't know why I would see... I mean, if I'm anthropomorphizing, ew. No, I see Kim Kardashian, don't you? Why would you look at this picture and look at this picture and see a correlation? I must be sexist. So every oblong, gross exaggeration of a face is male. And the objection is, yes, every time we see a genericized, ridiculously out of proportion face, allegedly we are sexist in this. We see male faces like it matters. And apparently women do it too, and therefore women will try to have sex with a cave because they can't determine... Oh, God, who cares? Like, these kind of things are just silly. They're just silly. I don't know why. Yeah, why did it trend? Because the Telegraph paid to have it trend. Rhino is trending because of Lindsey Graham. Oh, my God. This is so... Guys... Dems in disarray. They keep trying to tell me all the time, like, oh, no. Oh, 2022 is going to be terrible. Oh, no. What are we going to do? You see trans objects, right? Got instinct. It's anthropomorphizing, but it's usually, you're not masculinizing those things, whatever. Like I don't look at these two faces and see males, so I don't know what they're trying to tell me. But he calls him a rhino because he was like, yeah, you don't pardon the Jan 6 people, and then he straight up like called them patriots and said they were in there for unfair reasons and yada. I mean, just yeah, I saw. I'm going to do this in the afternoon show today, so I'm not watching any of it, but I've read some of the quotes in the paper. Oh God. And called him a rhino because he doesn't even know what it means. Like, it's just a snap. Like, he's running out of insults. The dude who like had a Chuckles nickname for everybody he was running against is just like spackling this idiocy. Just call everybody a rhino now. Just save yourself the brain space. And then all this dude does is kiss his ass. All he ever does. That's going to hurt. Cheney gets brutal dose of whatever. She can't recover from this. Oh no, a Dinesh D'Souza article. I refuse to get upset about Nellie Olson, really? That's not fair to Nellie Olson. We need to start a rhino party, right? Well, that's the argument for the is it the former governor of the governor of Maryland? I'm blitzing on which guy it is, but they're like basically saying that guy could win because he's a hyper centrist, socially left leaning Republican. Anyways, that guy could win is the theory, and I don't buy it because there's a certain level of telegenic stuff that you have to deal with. But Trump bashing is like, I'm honest to God. This is endorsement. The coward who abandoned his constituents by caving to Nancy Pelosi and the radical left who actually voted against me in the impeachment hoax too must be thrown out of office ASAP, and we have just the man to do it. Russell Fry. Countdown to this dude being found with a corpse or 9 drunk driving arrests or oh Lord. Rhino Republicans are worse than an admitted terrorist. Rhino Republicans are hypocrites. Hypocrites comes to our homes, pretend they are our friends, smiles at us after putting poison in our water. Rhino Republicans gave Trump hell for 4 years. I hate fuck hypocrites. I hate fuck. You need an ing on there, Orlando Bonito Clark. I'm having trouble accepting that this is of American origin. I am real voter. This is how upsetting I am being. Fuck the rhinos and Democrats. If you don't know that they control both the narrative and the counter narrative, you are not awake. Yeah, that's exactly how that went. I love how yeah. What do you got to do? What do you have to do to make this guy stick with you? Also, by the way, the redistricting stuff came. Oh, why is Star Wars trending? Please be good. Please be good. Boba Fett episode packed with Star Wars favorites. The series expands scope. Oh, because it wasn't doing well, so they're trying to salvage it with. You like this guy, right? I'm not going to watch it because there's going to be spoilers. And somebody's going to show something. And then Pam Tommy and the whole and the penis prosthetic story in this. I've heard great things. I have not had a chance to watch this. And it does have a talking penis in it. So there you go. Yeah, it has a big. He and it have a conversation about whether He's falling in love with Pam, and his penis is like, but what about all these other chicks? It might be too real. This is and this is my favorite too. It's like, dun dun dun. U.S. to deploy troops to Eastern Europe as tensions continue between Russia and Ukraine. You mean countries we're actually in? We're not sending them to fucking the Ukrainian front or Belarus. Calm yourself. And we removed Trump took out 15,000 troops. That's why this is just to make Putin nervous that we're going to park those people and keep them there like we have been. And as tours of duty go, being parked in Europe in a friendly country for a long time beats the shit out of Afghanistan, one would think. Sending 2,000 troops from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, to Poland and Germany. Right, to Eastern Europe. Poland and Germany. Yeah, that's what I think of as Eastern Europe. Technically, yes. They're not going to Bosnia. They're not going to fucking the Ukrainian border. They're backing. They're acting as support troops to NATO troops so that the NATO troops can go in. I'll stand here holding this rope. You guys can go do that. UK scrambles jets to intercept 4 Russian military planes. Yeah, they're just being dicks. And so, what Russia wants, according to an expert. Ooh, an expert, guys. An expert. Finally. What's happening in Russia has more to do with national self-interest than Putin or ideology. An expert explains. Zishan Alim, MSNBC opinion columnist. Is Russia really looking to invade Ukraine? How messy could it get if the West tries to stop it? These questions have been on my mind for the past couple of weeks, and they may have been on yours too, given the constant stream of news constant stream of news suggesting that some kind of clash is increasingly likely. Some kind of clash, motherfucker, it's not the news, it's the buildup of troops. Russia sent a shit ton of people and a bunch of demands like, don't ever promise us you'll never let Ukraine join NATO if they want to, even though they're a sovereign country. And the rest of NATO and the Western was like, fuck you. What? Look, I'm never going to join your party, and I might try to burn your house down, but you're not allowed to invite that person who I am currently enemies with to your party. What is... Because why? Because it would make me mad. Why? Because it would. Jesus. In December, Russia sent a list of security demands to a U.S. diplomat, and after they've done laughing and blowing their nose on him, calling for, among other things, a halt to the NATO military alliance's eastward expansion, removing NATO troops and bases from former Soviet Union territory, and ending Western military. This motherfucker thinks he's Osama bin Laden. Moscow stated that its demands could not be sorted out diplomatically. It would then use military force. In other words, to stop crowding us or we'll strike our neighbors to draw a line. They already did that. 100,000 troops, serious military hardware, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what would you estimate the odds are that Putin is going to invade Ukraine and what he's hoping to achieve with the troop buildups? Anatol Lievin. That sounds very Russian, this whole thing. Well, the buildup is intended to put pressure on the West and the U.S., if not meet all of Russia's demand, at least compromise sufficiently to give the Russian government the appearance of some kind of success. I don't think, and it appears to still be the consensus of U.S. intelligence, that they have definitively decided on war. Apart from everything else, I think the Russia would need more troops. I don't think 100,000 is enough. They're going to full-scale invasion. They're going to for a much more limited incursion in the Donbass, then the troops are not necessarily in the right place. The Donbass is the eastern region of Ukraine in which the Russian-backed separatists have broken away from the Ukrainian government control and formed self-declared separatist states that have not been internationally recognized. My judgment would be that before the Russians actually go to war again, they would have some sort of warning, at least from additional troop movements. The Russians are, I think, putting themselves in a position to invade. They probably shouldn't have said it publicly, but Biden's comments on the possibility of a limited incursion actually make good sense. It's quite likely that's how it would begin, and then the Russians would stop and see what we did next. What really worries me is that the Russian government has pitched its demands so high and so categorically that it would be very difficult now for them to go home with none of their significant demands answered without serious humiliation, so they put themselves in a position. This is what I've been saying. Russian expert. Now, you guys watched the live stream. Have I not? This is what I've been talking about. He's painting himself into a corner. He doesn't know what to do. He's getting his bluff called, and it looks like shit when you're a strong man. The door just blew open. It's very chilly outside. It's very spooky. Although I think there is still wiggle room. It's a technical term. You might not be familiar with it. If you've never been in a wiggle room, all I'm saying is don't lock the door. There's still, but you always want this quick exit in the wiggle room. It's one of the worst tortures that the GRU uses. There's still the possibility not of banning NATO membership for Ukraine, but possibly a moratorium on membership for 10 or 20 years. And the other thing is, like, we already asked them in 2008. Just basically say, look, if Russia withdraws its troops from the Ukrainian border and ends its threat of invasion, we'll pull back from the new deployments in Eastern Europe. That's right. Which gives the appearance of a decent compromise. Right, because that's what that's what Biden is doing. Oh, it's 222 and we 2222 and we have 222 people in the chat at one point. That's lovely. I love when that stuff works out. Good. Should we do it? Is it crass of me to ask for a $2.22 super chat from people like we do our 666 and the $10 one, just to keep the show on the air? If you like the morning show, please like and subscribe, give a thumbs up and all that stuff. It's a little looser in its goose than the afternoon show, and I'm glad we're doing it. That's all. And final thing would be to try political commitment to move to Minsk II process, the unimplemented ceasefire agreement regarding the separatist areas of Ukraine, right? Giving them a chunk of Ukraine, letting them keep it, or recognizing it, which is bullshit too. Russia doesn't want Ukraine in NATO for exactly the reason America would not want Mexico in alliances with China, right? There's nothing mysterious about it. U.S. concern about what happens in Central America existed long before America was a superpower. And if America ever ceases to be a superpower, it won't cease to be vitally concerned in what happens in its neighborhood for obvious reasons. The Monroe Doctrine never implied America trying to rule the world. So Russia's desire to maintain predominant influence over Ukraine does not actually imply Russia's desire to dominate Central Europe. There is an additional twist, of course, in the case of Ukraine, which is that Ukraine contains this huge Russian minority. 20% of the population say they're ethnic Russians. A third speak Russian. And by the way, get ready for this shit in northern China, too. Because there's a bunch of ethnic Russians who are stuck there, too. And they're like, hey, we're going to take this bit of land since you're not using it very well and you're poisoning it. So that adds to the importance of Ukraine for Russia. Also, this whole, like, China being interested in Mexico, you have to, if you're going to use that as the analogy, like, America wouldn't like it if China was, supporting Mexico. Well, if we had troops lined up on the Mexican border for, like, Alamo 2, and we were going to take the northern regions, we're just, like, sick of some of the cartels, and we want our natural border further into Mexico, so we were going to invade, then we wouldn't really have much say in other countries going, what the fuck? Why are you about to invade Mexico? So that's where I've seen this analogy dozens of fucking times. We are not in Ukraine. Ukraine is in Ukraine. Oh, thanks so much, Ann, for becoming a patron. Patreon.com/HalSparks. Another great way to support the show. Almost singularly holding, the patrons are almost singularly holding the existence of the morning show. So I appreciate that. Right? Does that make sense? Is that to anyone? Let's see. Thanks, Dan. When economics and politics collide, the balls always drop. Focus wider, and you'll see the solution. Huh? Thanks, David. Hey now. Thank you for posting that, Andrea. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. It was great seeing you driving all the way. I still think about that, running in, like, you come into the whiskey. I was like, oh, Mark, that's sweet. That was great. Still all aflutter about that. That was very nice. So I've heard this analogy dozens of times, and it falls short in the whole, yeah, but we're not putting troops, we're not putting hundreds of thousands of troops and tanks and missiles and mortars and shit like that on the Mexican border. looking like we're going to push in and take more territory. So they can, I mean, everybody can kiss my ass with that analogy. I'm done. Like, that is so aggravating. And Tucker's used it. Jimmy Dore has used it. Is there a difference these days? Hard to tell. Newsmax uses it when they're defending Russia. Same thing. What exactly does Putin want? What idea? This isn't about Putin. Russia has a blob like America has a blob. Blob is a term for Washington's stubborn long-term foreign policy establishment. Oh, deep state. He has a deep state, too. Since the beginning of NATO expansion in the 90s, when Russia had a very different government under Boris Yeltsin, the commentators officials opposed NATO enlargement, but also warned that if it went as far as taking in Georgia and Ukraine, then there would be confrontation and strong likelihood of war. They said explicitly over and over again, so this is not about Putin. It's not even, I think, fundamentally about ideology. Once again, much like the Monroe Doctrine, you have Republican administrations, Democratic administrations throughout American history insisting on the exclusion of hostile military alliances from Central America. Yeah, except there was never a point where those Central American countries were in danger of, I guess, attacking, in any major way their fellow Central American countries, and there being a split between those, where, like, Brazil was going to take Honduras. Again, this analogy is bullshit. Foreign countries across oceans being involved in our extended continent, where we have a trade relationship and all this kind of stuff for military purposes. This would be like, setting missiles on, on Cuba, that idea, which are completely aggressive and under no claimants, because we didn't, like, after the Bay of Pigs, just surrounding them because we didn't want missiles there, is not attached territory. It's an island. You can't walk. There's a big problem when you can just drive tanks into a country. There's a huge difference. And the problem is, the other, I don't know if he's even going to mention this, to defeat the Russians. Anyways, this is a deeper thing. We'll get into more of this later, because I will get lost in this, and then I'll look up and I'll be late for my thing. Would you take free land in rural America? Yes. We're in the middle of a national housing shortage, and towns in Kansas Plains are giving away free land and ultra cheap houses, but is it even worth it? Sure. You know what you need, though, is an airport. Also, it's a tornado alley, isn't it? It's a tornado alley. In Kansas, small towns, the houses are cheap, with quality homes going for $100,000 and fixer-uppers costing far less. Land, a commodity over which NIMBY battles rage throughout the country, can actually be obtained for free in several counties. Cool. They just want you to pay tax on the ownership of the land. And by the way, as soon as that broadband comes in, those houses are going to be worth a lot more. Tesla who? Biden can't bring himself to say it. Musk has noticed. So what? What do you mean can't bring himself to say it? President Joe Biden calls himself a union guy and a car guy. He's embraced electric vehicles, vital to his economy. But there's one U.S. company he won't talk about, Tesla. So? Director hails progress Ford and GM have made towards fielding an electric fleet, but his ongoing and obvious snubs of Tesla have sparked increasingly exasperated public reactions from Elon Musk. Tough. The company wouldn't exist without the Obama bailouts, and he's been nothing but shitty when he talks about Obama and Biden. So, boo fuckity who. Grow up. Los Angeles received $53 million as part of California's new youth jobs program. Great. Child labor. That's exactly what we need. We're going to generate work opportunities for underserved young people between the ages of 16 and 30. Young people. Underserved when you're 27? That's your ass. Sorry. Okay, cities that are expected to receive funding once giant contracts are signed: L.A., San Diego, and this is all from the rescue package funds and the infrastructure bill. This is just California getting some of that and doling it out to the big cities that need it. Pillow fight becomes professional combat sports? No, it doesn't. That's just stupid. You can pay anybody to do anything. This 3 whole tweets. It's trending from the same source. Breezy scroll. Look at this. 1, 2, 4, beg your pardon. A thread from the same site, and that's a trend. Sponsored anybody? Impeachment witness Alexander Vindman sues Donald Trump Jr. and Giuliani for intimidation and retaliation. That's good. That's good. What? Google parent Alphabet announces 20-for-1 stock split. Jesus. They did, that's a lot. That means they're expecting ridiculous growth. Consider that an AI-generated split. Stunned. People are stunned. What are they stunned about? Stunned. Cold stunned alligator spotted in Florida State Park with fish in its mouth. Oh, cold stunned. I see. He's just so cold, he's not moving. Oh, this is showing magic to monkeys. Who are these things? Star demolished, stunned audience. A lot of just rando stunned. Staffers inside CNN are in absolute shock right now. Are they? Employees at the company learned of Zucker's sudden departure all at once via a company-wide email that went out just after 11 a.m. He announced his resignation to a stunned CNN. Stunned. Are you? Stunned? Stunned is the word of the day. Only thing she said was actually Mary Trump pulling podcast from Spotify. Russia with the 40 people who listen to her podcast. Yeah. And that's he's from Newsmax. Yeah, that's Rob Smith. That's the dude who interviews Trump when he freaks out. And this is so this is the Zucker resignation to a stunned CNN. I was required to disclose it when it began, but I didn't. Again, this is one of those things. Like the corporate structure of like not dating someone from work or whatever is just inhuman. It's not how people work. And by the way, golden parachute anybody? That's not. I'm stunned this man was having an affair. I'm always amazed. Am I the only person who, when like people are like, this guy was having a secret affair or whatever, and they show the dude, and you're like, really? That is, the generosity of women never ceases to amaze me. Kecker. Devo in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Oh, God. Oh, Lord. And this morning, let's see if I can show you where governors denying restricting visitation hospitals brought on by the pandemic has had a huge negative consequence. Okay. Yeah, but I'm sure he was all for, Oh, dear God. I promise I have never gone out with Taylor Swift. Please don't be a song about me. Please don't be a song about me. Please don't be a song about me. I have not. It sounds relatively positive, though. So, maybe I have. Sorry. Now, let's see. There you go. Yeah, here we go. This was, I love how Politico says it, Dems avert total redistricting doomsday, but they're not out of the woods. They're ahead by like 8 seats. And there's a belief that because the Democrats believe, rightly so, that a lot of districts are competitive when Republicans don't believe they are. So they've been open to competing in those districts by making them more competitive, by not just siphoning, like shaping safe districts and letting them shape safe districts. Like, no, let's fight on the battlefield of ideas. And they're trusting in that. And everybody's like, I don't know if that's a good plan. Like, and there's like, the fight isn't over. But House Democrats campaign chief believes his party has at least avoided a redistricting doomsday. At least avoided it. Why wouldn't it be a redistricting doomsday for Republicans as well? If they've avoided it, then is today a Republican redistricting doomsday that would have automatically handed the GOP the keys next January? Republicans still hold an indisputable advantage going into the midterms. That's not true at all. I dispute that. So therefore, your assertion, Sarah Ferris and Ali Mutnick, is false. I dispute it. I'm very distinct dispute, that I'm having right now. Going into the midterms, but Democrats have seized this year's redistricting battle with an unexpected ruthlessness, carving out more blue territory than most had expected even just a few months ago, and netting key wins for the courts. Ladies and gentlemen, did I not all right. Who told you? Who remember when everybody was like, remember the clamoring 4 months ago? It was like, oh God, and the wrenching of garments. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I got to get going soon. I got 10 minutes. Thanks, moms. Yeah? Anybody remember that? Anybody? You do. You certainly do. You must. If you watch regularly, you know that when all this fervor about, dear God, the redistricting, we're being wiped out. It's never going to, oh, no. Remember that shit? And I was like, yeah, we'll see. Oh, I'm gloating. I'm going to gloat. No, I have till 10:15 to be on the road. 10:20 technically, because I have 15 minutes and 5 minutes to get my stuff together and throw it in the car. So there. Thank you, Vanessa. I was right. And I want you guys to stop freaking out just because they poke you. That's why I'm saying this, too. Because what was everybody... It wasn't so much that the news people were freaking out about or whatever, but did you see the trickle down on Twitter? The panic attack was overwhelming. Who needs more anxiety when it's not fucking necessary? They were talking out of their ass. They didn't know what they were saying. They were creating an artificial point of anxiety where there need be none. And it freaked people out. There was 6 weeks of that shit. Yes. I'm the gloat. I'm not the goat. The greatest laugher of all time. Right? I'm not gloating just because I'm correct about this. Thank you, Luke. But because it angers me that these idiots create this false anxiety in everybody. Everybody gets freaked the fuck out. They're so like, oh no, it's gonna, oh no, what are we gonna do? And it doesn't, you can't change anything. You're not in charge of this process. All you can do is sit back and watch. And so they just panic the shit out of you for 6 to 10 weeks. And it isn't right. It's wrong because they do not know what they're talking about. They were not right about this. I was. And I was trying to tell everybody to calm the hell down. Right? I'm the goat. The greatest gloater of all time. But seriously, it makes me angry. Like, I watch you guys every time some news story comes across the wire, like it gets, it starts to snowball on Twitter, and I sit there and I look at it, and some of it, there'll occasionally be one that's worthy of note, and you talk about it, and it's a story, and we'll deal with it on the show and that kind of things, and it ultimately is never as bad as everybody says it is, but or most of the time when it's something serious, it's being ignored. It's the other way around. But when it's this stuff, I'm sitting there and I'm watching this Magoo, and I'm going, they cannot say with any assurance that that's how it's going to turn out. There is no reason to believe otherwise, and all the fear mongering just freaked everybody out for no good reason. It made everybody panic. We have enough shit to really panic about. Magoo! It was... We had enough of that, right? There's enough to genuinely worry about without concocting enormous fear points. And it makes me angry. And then when it turns out, when I'm right, people think that I'm gloating like, look at me, I got it there. But it's not even that. I'm so fucking irritated that all these people I follow on Twitter or follow me or in, responding to comments and tweets that I put up or on Facebook or any of the other thing, for 6 weeks, we're like, there's no way they're cheating and it's gonna blah, blah, blah. And then I posted that article like 4 weeks ago where there was like, election experts are saying it's either going to be a wash or the Democrats are going to come out ahead. And everybody was like, nah. And then again and again and again. That's what happens. Magoo. I'm just saying. And if there's a reason for my show to exist, it's this very thing. Is to tap the brakes on this fear-mongering bullshit. That's why everybody has anxiety. And worry is projecting fear into the future. Anxiety is like a mix of worry and crap heaped on you. I can't fix your worry. I can't make you not worry. That's your choice. But I can certainly sort of act as a blocker, like a goalie, when they try to shoot the anxiety puck your way and knock it out of the way because it doesn't deserve to be in the net. It was a bad shot. Magoo. I'm going to make America great over and over. Magoo. Oh my gosh. You guys, Dr. 13 says, the woman who was arrested for working with ISIS went to my high school in Kansas. I was shocked. I'm not. I've been to Kansas a lot. But I'm honestly, if you're feeling anxious, if you have anxiety, recognize that it's like a glass of, it's like a cool, foamy beverage, whatever your favorite is. It's a soda, a beer, something like that. And you pour it into the glass, and if you pour too fast, you reach a certain point, you can fill it up, and it's fine. And the head of it will sit right on the top, and it's fine. And you might be a little anxious about stuff or a little rude, but it's not overflowing. And then somebody comes along and just adds water to it. It's not even beer. Adds water, and then it starts to overflow. That's your anxiety overflowing. That's where it's like allergies. Most people have allergic responses to things, but if you're in better health, your allergies don't act up as much. Your body doesn't freak out in its response, and it doesn't trigger the autoimmune stuff that creates histamines and yada yada, and so it doesn't overflow into symptoms. You're below the symptom range because your body's just handling it, right? It's when you burst out into symptoms that there's that overflow. That's what anxiety is an overflow of just negative information and ignorance about the solutions or the reality of it or the genuine chance of it happening, so you don't have anything to weigh it against. And so that's why a lot of meditations, they'll tell you to and I've got 5 minutes, take a situation you're worried about and play it out to its most awful conclusion, and then play it out to where it works out, and then play it out where it goes totally magoo, and then and you recognize, oh well, it could go more ways than just the one I'm narrowly focusing on that's making me anxious. And that, I honestly, it aggravates me when I see this bullshit and people are just like really genuinely afraid for no fucking reason. Because even the person who might be giving you the bad news doesn't really know it's 100% bad news. And you just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other and being your best self, and know that every smile you smile passes on to somebody else, and you just keep at it. Keep at being a good person. But what's if anxiety has a strategic purpose? Politically, it's paralysis. Magoo. People are just asking me to say it. It has a strategic purpose, and that's to paralyze you. Because they always talk about fight or flight. There's also fight, freeze, or flight. And most people end up in freeze because because fighting is beyond their aggressive tendencies or their social limits, and flight is not an option if you have a family or those kind of things. You got things tying you to this. You can't just get in your car and like, fuck this. I'm moving. I'm getting some free land in Kansas, right? So most people freeze. It's a form of paralysis. Analysis paralysis is different. 15909 broadcaster. The analysis paralysis when you got too much information and you can't make a decision on it. That's what I call the tyranny of options. That's what a lot of people have in their life, and that's why they just kind of go back to just watching Netflix. You have too many possibilities, which is a great position in life to be in because there were generations upon generations. Most humans who've ever lived never had a choice, much less two. So you can, count yourself fucking lucky for the time you live in. I don't care how hard you think it is. We have no idea how hard. But go watch a documentary on frontier medicine and get back to me. Get right back to me. Magoo. So the point I'm trying to make is, I've got 4 minutes. Thank you for time checking. I need Magoo as my alarm clock. This is crucial because are there things? What's worry for? Worry has an actual function. There's a possibility that something bad could happen. Worry will make you think about it multiple times, and eventually your nervous system will go, well, I don't want that to happen. What could I do? I could run. I could punch him in the face. I could solve this. I could bring more cash because I won't have because what if my car doesn't work? I could do whatever your worry is. I could check my tires before I leave the house because like flat tires make me nervous. Whatever your thing is, right? That's worry has a solution. It built in if you act on it. If you're paralyzed by it, then that's where it becomes just anxious feelings and anxiety, and that's the paralysis part, which also had a value at one point. Again, anger is hunger, depression is dehydration at its root, because and this is not a medical diagnosis. This is anecdotal and to sort of on an evolutionary scale. That if you're hungry, you can do something about it. You can attack something and bite it. You can steal something from somebody else. You can climb a tree, do something active to get food. Get an apple out of the tree and climb back down. That's a physical activity. So making you angry is making you active, makes you do stuff. But water only comes when it comes. If you can't find a river and there's only water when it rains, you can only just slow down and not move and don't do anything and don't risk, and you become risk averse and all those kind of things and kind of sad, and you just kind of, crumple a little bit. And that's because there's no water to be had, so it's better to just wait until some shows up. You're not going to be adventurous, not past a certain point. And so our bodies kind of arc that way. So anytime you're feeling anxious, go drink some water, for one. And if you're hangry, for God's sake, eat something that's nutritionally more dense than it is calorically dense. I'm just telling you. A cookie won't help. That's blood sugar. It's a different thing altogether. Beans and rice. Anyways, I've got 1 minute and I'm already doing diet advice. I'm just saying that if you're anxious about stuff, take responsibility for the part that overflows. Because life has anxiety built in. Everybody's worried about their kids and their mom and their dad and their parents and the traffic and shit. That's there. But anybody else tries to put any in, just get thee behind me, Satan. I am not taking this on. I will interpret parts of the details, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to let it take over because that will overflow my anxious feelings and ruin my day. So there you go. Me love cookies. All right, look, I got to go. All right, this is me leaving. All right, I got to go. Wish me luck on this photo shoot. I'm sorry I can't stick around later. I will see you guys later on. I don't know how long this is going to go, so I might be a little late starting it. I hope I've timed it right, so we won't have to, but we'll find out. And I will see you guys. Oh, there's my screens. There they are. Later on today. So take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. You're beautiful and wonderful, and relax, will you? For fuck's sake. Relax. Just, I know there's a lot of things. I know there's a lot of things. But just shave 5% off for me. I'm not going to worry about that. To do that, it'll help immensely. All right, okay. Bye, everybody. This is the end of the show, and I don't have a theme song yet, and I got to get out of here. So, I'm not out of here yet. I almost said something that rhymed with wet, and that just seemed weird.